All right, we got a new 30-minute game going. Doing a couple of games today since I have a little bit of time. We've got the black pieces, 1e4, 1c6, the caro-kann, a modern classic. This could be the alien gambit. Um, don't often see the combination of e4 and knight to c3. Now they're just getting their knights out. We will want to be cautious here. So I think the move is takes. So similar to the classic caro-kann, we could get our bishop out either to f5 or g4. F5, of course, runs into knight back to g3 and then knight back to g6, like the main line. So knight out here is a little bit more appealing. And then maybe we can trade off that knight. But that knight on e4 will prove to be dangerous, so we should treat it somewhat carefully. If they do want to scare us off, I think bishop out to h5 is probably a little bit better. I wonder too if they have like at g5 bishop takes. Do they have anything like any checkmating ideas? I don't think so. That looks sort of gross. Yeah, so they do that. And now, yeah, if we come back to g6, they will have to move their knight. Otherwise, we pick it up for free. So if they want to, yeah, this feels fine. Okay, so they reinforce their knight. We could take here. They take back. We trade queens, and they lose castling rights. Is that a worthwhile endeavor? Get their king nice and exposed. We can hang on to that for the time being. I guess if we, yeah, let's hang on to that. Could explore that if we want to. Their position is sort of strange right now. It doesn't seem, frankly, very good at all. They play a3. We potentially have queen to a5 check. But I don't think that accomplishes anything for us. They have like bishop out. They have pawn to c3. I guess inducing a further weakness in their position could be worthwhile. But for now, let's go ahead and just get developed. Nowhere really for a bishop to go other than e7 and then knight out to g6 maybe, and we trade knights. That doesn't look too bad. Let's get our bishop out first. We could also, this looks interesting. Queen to d5, threatening bishop takes here. If they take back, then we have queen takes with check. And that looks really nice. They get their queen out in front of their king. I think that's a dangerous spot for a queen to be. If we can get castled and get our rook out to e8, perhaps we'll have some ideas there of nasty tricks that we can pull. If they do want to get their bishop out, I think then we can throw in this check, provoke another weakness in their position, and then maybe get our queen out to d5. Okay, so they do that. Oh, here we go. I see a tactic. So I think what we can do is take. They'll take back somehow. We have queen out to a5 check, and then, oh no, so both of these knights are guarding that bishop, so we don't have that option. Unfortunate. Okay, that was a nice idea. Potentially we could do something similar with takes, 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 check, they move, and then over. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's do it in that order. Takes, if they take back here first, then that's not an option. So if they take back here first, then we have a nice advanced knight, and we could maybe threaten, like, queen out, check. And then there... Ooh, that doesn't look quite as good, does it? Maybe we get castled first. Maybe we get castled first. And if they want to trade here, that's fine by me. Let's get castled. Still, we have this check available to us. Nope, they castle. Okay, so goodbye. Wonderful check. That was a nice thought, but I think we'll have to let that go. I guess now we have takes. They take. Then we have takes, 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 and then we're up a piece. So I think this is still potentially fruitful. So let's do that. They take. Wonderful. And bonus points, this is very forcing because it comes with check. Oh gosh, they had their did I miss that? Oh yeah, so this is they used their pawn to take, so they potentially had rook takes on d8 taking her queen, but fortunately we were able to avoid such nastiness. Alright, they move their king out of the way. Let's get our rooks connected. And the most expedient way to do that, knight to d7 blunders the knight, so I think it's going to have to be knight to a6, and then maybe knight out to c5. That doesn't look amazing, but I think that's just going to have to be the move. Connect our rooks, and then proceed from there. So we've got a decent position here. We're up a piece, so we're off to a good start. They've got a nice protective structure around their king. I don't think we'll be able to do anything immediately, but if we can trade off enough pieces, I think we'll be in a good spot. Okay, they come out to c4. Not sure exactly what they're threatening here. Maybe... What are they planning on doing? Or maybe just making room for their light squared bishop? I am not certain, but I think what we can do is just get our rook out to d8. I think they're very likely to trade, and that's positive for us. I just want to trade pieces off the board so they can't surprise us with any sort of untoward attacks. I guess we can't push b6 now, both because it leaves both of these pieces hanging. Okay, they move their bishop over here. Not sure yet what the plan is. I think we can trade rooks. It's very forcing. It comes with check, and then we can decide what we want to do next. Pawn up to here leaves this pawn hanging. I guess, yeah, if we have pawn up to here, then they have queen takes on c6. That doesn't look good. Queen over here threatening queen takes on f7. We do potentially have rook to d8 takes. and then threatening queen back to d1 check. I don't think that accomplishes anything. Queen to f4 I think is maybe a little bit better. I think I might want to keep the queen on d8 for as long as possible, or like eyeing down the d8 square. So I think moving out to here looks pretty good. So let's see carefully. Actually, is there anything we can do about our knight? Can we improve our knight's position? Maybe like this. That looks fine. Knight coming out over. This is a long way to travel, but potentially eyes down this e4 square. Getting the knight somehow on d5, if we get rid of this pawn, creating a nice fortification there looks good too. So maybe we... maybe just a simple knight to b5. Queen to h4 and knight to c7, preparing knight to b5 both look good to me. Or just trading off this rook. I think I like trading off the rook a little bit better. It's nice and forcing. They can't get into our position quite yet because we have this nice defensive structure. All in light squares. Their light squared bishop is going to have a challenging time getting into our position. We will trade off here, and hopefully we can trade our knight for their light squared bishop. I think that would be ideal. Would really like to see that. So we could work our way that looks bup, bup, bup. No, then we lose our light squared bishop as well, so that doesn't work. We can find a way to do it. We can find a way to do it. It's going to be a long... I guess we could just move our knight to c5 because our queen is defending that square. Knight to c5. But then it doesn't have anywhere to go, really, because taking here doesn't work. So we can move our queen up. Oh, man. A lot of options here. I think probably wise for our opponent to not take here, but I don't like their other options, really. And we got to figure out something to do with this knight. Gotta figure out something to do with the knight. We can move down to b8 and then safely push b5, because then our knight would be then guarding our weak c6 pawn. That looks like it could be an option. That's not amazing. I think it makes our knight even less active than it was before. But that's a lesson I have been working on, is that pieces move backwards as well as forwards. So being okay with slightly more passive moves in order to save a piece from being captured, or stuff like that. I think, let's see, other options for our opponent. Pawn to h4 would be forcing under normal circumstances, but I think then we take the rook. Ooh, they move back. Okay. That's probably a good move. So now let's figure out what we can do. I'm not worried about like a queen bishop battery. They're not coordinated right now. Our opponent only has 3 pieces, but maybe creating an escape square for both our light squared bishop and our king, just in case there are any back rank checkmate ideas in the near future. I would like to be very cautious of that. So maybe we just play h6. I guess we don't have to do that immediately because we have this rook in the back rank protecting things too. It's on a dark square, so protected from their light squared bishop. Maybe we move forward with this idea of knight to b8, and then knight to b8, push to scare their queen off, and then figure out something else to do. Let's do that. Ideas for opponent, moving their queen out of the way. Actually, yeah, if we push and they want to push, I'm happy to trade queens at this point. Yeah, let's do that. Love, love, love to trade queens. Okay, they move back. We could move here to force a queen trade. Just offer that queen trade, hitting both their queen and their light squared bishop. I don't see a way that they can defend both. I mean, they potentially have this check here, but yeah, and if they want to try to get their rook out for like back rank mate shenanigans, we just take the rook, and that starts to look very bad for our opponent. Yeah, so let's offer a queen trade, being cordial, being genial. They don't have to take it, but it sure would be nice if they did. And then we're driving their light squared bishop back. So if they take, we take back with our rook, and then we drive their light squared bishop back, probably to, it's got to be f1, because if they do h1, then our rook comes over to h2, trapping their light squared bishop. Okay, so they don't take it. I think we take their light squared bishop. We're up another piece. Yep, they're not threatening any mating ideas that I can see. So we're up 2 pieces now. Still needing to be very careful, very cautious. Our king is a little bit in danger just by virtue of not having any escape squares. If they did something like this, 1, 2, oops, 1, 2, 3, that would be checkmate. Now that they've advanced this pawn too, maybe it's time to create a little escape hatch and drop our bishop back. I guess that doesn't create an escape hatch for our king. Maybe knight out like that. That doesn't really accomplish anything. Our pieces are a little uncoordinated. Can we bring them back to bear? Can we fix the situation? Maybe not. Let's h6, h5. We drop back. Still a dangerous spot for king, but we have eventually this nice open diagonal. Once we can get this pawn out of the way, staring down their king. We still got about 19 minutes on the clock to figure out whatever we need to figure out. Okay, they move. Maybe eyeing this idea of yeah, queen over there. If we push, I think that accomplishes anything. We could move our rook to guard this c8 square, guarding this c6 pawn, and then be able to move our knight somewhere else. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then their queen no longer has the idea of taking a rook because our rook is in the wrong position. And I think this is slightly more preferable. Yeah. And now maybe we can push here. Still needing to be fairly careful, because if they get down here and they get their rook out, that starts to look like bad news. Maybe we shouldn't have given up the D file. They move down here. Okay, so they move. Yeah, perhaps targeting this A7 pawn. We can take this pawn here and then guard the D1 square so they can't get out with their rook. And that looks pretty good. And then we can unstick our bishop and free up the escape square for our king. Yeah. So let's do that. There's still a couple moves away from checkmate, but I think this is likely to come next. Queen to A7, followed by maybe queen to B7. At that point, we should be able to guard the escape square. Takes, threatens. That doesn't quite work, does it? Maybe just like rook back to F8 looks the most appealing. So if they take, yeah, we drop our rook back, or they take, we take here, and then we can safely drop our rook back to F8. A nice defensive structure there. And then we're sort of off scot-free. We don't have any other dangerous ideas to contend with. I just want to finish up cleaning these pawns. Okay. Queen over to E5. Not really targeting this because it's defended. Could offer another queen trade by coming down here. Yeah, let's offer another queen trade. I don't like what they're doing with their queen, and we're up 2 pieces at this point. Maybe entertaining ideas of like takes down, queen takes checkmate. But they can't push pawns right now because they would lose their queen. So wanting to be cautious here. I think we're playing good defensive chess. We got our rook out of the way of any ideas of like queen takes on b8 or d8. Still moving our rook to f8 might be a strong defensive idea. But I think they're going to lose their queen at some point or another. If they want to move their rook out here, we do have queen takes check. Not quite getting into checkmate, but that looks dangerous as well. Okay, they move their queen once again. Let's... Jeez. We can move our pawn out of the way. I just don't like the idea. I think they're so likely to take here. We like pawn up to here and then knight out hitting their queen. Let's get our rook to safety first. Rook to f8. And then figure out how to attack the remainder of our opponent's position. I like queen takes on g4. They need some way to coordinate their pieces, which they don't have. They don't have an easy way. I guess they could come down to d6. Okay, so they do that. I think, yeah, we take here. Takes, they push. We can capture their remaining pawn. Whoa, hold on. So if we take, they take with their queen, they can push, and then queen comes down for checkmate. How many moves did they? 1, 2. drop our queen back, and it's protected. Okay, so this is looking a little fraught. Maybe we threaten their queen with knight to d7 first. d7, queen takes, knight up to e5, let's say, preventing any further ideas. Yeah, that seems good. They can have these pawns. We're up so much material that they're not going to be able to do anything. Okay, they take, and we'll move our knight up to relative safety. Move their king out of the way, and now we can take this pawn. There we go. Okay, they move their rook out. We potentially have this, but I think that removes our queen a little bit too much from the action. Out here, rook comes down somewhere to threaten our pieces. Oh, I guess we do have queen takes. They don't have any checks available to them. The only check they have is queen takes on f7 check, which we can recapture no problem. So if we take here, they move the rook out of the way, let's say to here, then this is checkmate. That's checkmate. Okay. So this looks pretty good. They don't have any checks available. They need to get the rook out of the way somehow. And I mean, ideas like this look very threatening. Oh, that's not going to do it. Oh, it's not going to do it. So with our bishop supporting our queen, we could simply take this rook. That's checkmate. All right, there we go. That was a good game. Let's take a look at the review. We'll switch to the analysis board. Doing more than one game today, so we don't get unlimited analysis. Let's see. I mean, already knight to c3 is a strange... Or I guess it's the two knights attack. It's not terribly unusual. Slight edge for white here. They chase us away. All these pawn moves I don't think are amazing, but the engine is showing that it's a little bit better for white. White has a slight edge. We go ahead and get developed. And then this is where it starts to fall apart. They get their bishop out, and we're able to... we get castled. And I think we're able to take... Bishop takes e7, so the bishop taking here was the correct move. But they take with the pawn, leading to check, knight takes, check, and we're simply up a piece. Up a piece, 14 moves into the game. And I think our king is tucked away to safety. None of their pieces are developed. So we're able to pretty effectively press our advantage. We trade pieces, no problem. Offering another trade. They get out of the way. Let's see. Yeah, driving the queen back a little bit. Offering queen trade number one. I think here, what is this? Bishop to f1. I see. Bishop to f1 is a little bit stronger here. Or queen to h4. Well, that's not right. Bishop to h4? Oh, no, just h4. I'm not sure what exactly that accomplishes. Maybe threatening to trap our light squared bishop. So I guess, yeah, that's decent. So if they play that, if we initiate the queen trade, they can take. But if we take their knight, then they've trapped our light squared bishop and have sort of this nice pawn formation, threatening some checkmate ideas. But they don't find any of those moves, allowing us just to pick up their bishop for free. We do not allow them to trap our bishop in turn. And they just make a bunch of queen moves that don't seem to help their cause. And there we go. We get queen takes c2, massive advantage. All these lead to forced mate sequences. So at this point, checkmate is unavoidable. Not that I would have found mate and 8 necessarily. It's a long sequence. But your rook to b1 is exactly the wrong move, permitting queen takes b1. Checkmate. Cool. Fun game. Glad to get another win. Yeah, I think we'll call it here. Have a good one, everyone.